one.
They fact-checked the title and left. Chapter 3, the truth finally revealed. That's not what you said on Morning Joe, though.
I mean, context matters. There were editing choices.
Fiction section's over there.
The Biden White House's biggest liar just went nuclear. Karine Jean-Pierre, the woman who read propaganda from her binder while America watched Biden deteriorate, is on a scorched-earth revenge tour. No one's buying it. She's attacking Democrats for dumping Biden, claiming they treated him awfully, while still insisting he was sharp as a tack. Even liberal hosts are calling out her lies. One said she's not entitled to her own facts. CBS grilling her about defending Biden's obvious decline. But here's the bombshell. She's also throwing Kamala Harris under the bus while protecting the man she helped deceive America about. The Obama-Biden-Harris alliance is imploding, and KJP just lit the match that could burn down what's left of the Democrat establishment, so stay locked in. And while Democrats tear each other apart and KJP rewrites history, I'm experiencing breakthroughs with red light therapy that would make their spin doctors jealous. After Jonathan Otto showed me this technology, my wife and I discovered transformations beyond belief. Her chronic pain from her diagnosis completely gone. My energy levels reveled, men half my age. This is not political spin, it's proven science. Major medical journals document 300% faster healing, instant pain relief, even brain regeneration. NASA pioneered it, the FDA approved it. The same treatment that costs thousands at clinics now works in your home. While KJP spins lies about Biden's health, take control of yours. Visit myredlight.com and use code NNN for exclusive savings. Don't wait for government health care. Get real healing now. myredlight.com, link down below. Use code NNN exclusive for our viewers. Now, the posts we have collected show KJP's book tour turning into a Democrat civil war confession. We're going to show you, simultaneously attacking her own party while covering for Biden's obvious decline. Here she is kicking off the tour. No one's going to buy this book. Did you like that opening? Gary at a bookstore? That was funny. Anyway, it was brutal. Curtis Houck writes, starting with Tony Dokupel pointing out that she defended Joe Biden and that she saw nothing cognitively wrong with him. Listen to this.
Landed on my desk and I saw so when this book landed on my desk and I saw a broken White House in the subtitle, I have to say, I thought you were going to say that try as you might to convince Joe Biden to drop out of the race, because what we were seeing is what you were seeing, and he was struggling, couldn't do it. I thought you were going to say you were angry at that, but mostly,
I do too.
What you said in this book is you're angry at the people who tried to push him out.
Yes, that's correct.
Some Americans are going to say, seriously?
But not just the party that pushed him out, the party as it's behaving today in this moment when we need a Democratic Party to be fighting, to be an opposition party. And that really what ignited the book. Right after the administration, I was just minding my business, right? No longer a public servant, going to the grocery store, going to my kids' school. People would come up to me and strangers, and they would say, what's going on with the Democratic Party? Why aren't they fighting? We knew what was going to happen after this election. Why are they not prepared? So it is the stakes were really high. So it's connected also to the moment that we are in. I'm telling a story, obviously, my story, and how I started thinking about the Democratic Party and my involvement in it. And then fast forward to today, the disappointment, the disillusionment that millions of people have.
I think it's crazy to see her.
And you're right about the people within the party.
It's crazy to see her total transformation. Yeah. When I first saw it, I'm like, I don't even recognize this woman. I mean, she went from like, these curly hair to cultural appropriation. I mean, this is how we knew her, and this is how she's trying to sell herself. Yeah, that's KJP, believe it or not. We have Jesse Waters with the White House press secretary. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt cooking Karine Jean-Pierre, a.k.a. Binder, calling her a deplorable.
She called you deplorable, and you say?
Well, with all due respect to my predecessor,
She is one of the main culprits of the greatest cover-up and scandal in American history. She took the podium every day and lied to the press about the incompetence of her boss. And on this book tour, she continues to lie. She said this past week that Joe Biden would still be up for the job if he had, God forbid, been reelected in November. She actually said this week as well on a podcast that Joe Biden did more press engagements than President Trump currently does now. Any person across the aisle can tell you that is a bald-faced lie. And I will just add, when you talk to the real journalists, not the ones who are actually activists that pose as journalists, but the people who actually care about truth, and there are some of those left in the White House press corps, I work with them every day, they will tell you the Trump White House is the most accessible and transparent White House ever. Not only does the president take questions from the press on a near daily basis, multiple times per day, as he did today, but we also provide truthful and accurate information about what this administration is doing and accomplishing. And it's a stark contrast to what they had over the past 4 years, where they were gaslit, where they were told Joe Biden was mentally stable and up for the job. That was a lie. Where they were told the administration was doing everything it could to secure the border. Also a lie. I'm very proud to work for the greatest president in history. I know Karine unfortunately worked for the most incompetent president in history, so I guess she has a reason to be bitter, but being bitter will not sell you books.
She called you.
Being bitter will not sell you books. This just in, Karine Jean-Pierre deposition incoming. Representative Comer talking about it.
Legality.
Can you tell us what you hope to hear today?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell us what you hope to hear today from the president?
Yeah, well, we intentionally wanted Jean-Pierre to be one of the last people we bring in. We believe that she's written some things in the book that are going to be of interest to our entire investigation. We've seen a lot of reports, and obviously we have the emails that have surfaced in the last week that would suggest that there was a process that the Biden administration was using to use the audit pen that was in direct conflict with the Merrick Garland Department of Justice. And the process by which the email said the Biden administration was using to approve the audit pen are inconsistent with many of the depositions and transcribed interviews that we've gotten thus far from this investigation. So we have Jean-Pierre today. We have one more, and then we'll review from there to see if we need to bring additional people in. But I think, one of the questions was about Kamala Harris, and what Kamala Harris has written that came out in the last 48 hours was consistent with what we believe we have learned in this administration with respect to the decision-making process and the lack of respect that the staffers and the people around the Biden White House had for President Biden. So, again, this is a serious investigation about the legality of the use of the audit pen, the excessive use of the audit pen, and whether or not Joe Biden had any idea who was using the audit pen and what the audit pen was used to sign with respect.
So Kamala Harris, KJP, new book, is coming back to bite her. Here is Chris Cillizza, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. He is independent news creator on Substack. I think he used to be on CNN, but nobody was watching him there. So now he thinks people are going to watch him here. But we'll play this moment because I think it's a good soundbite. She's not entitled to her own facts.
To me. Now, this book, when it was announced, got a huge amount of attention because Jean-Pierre, who was Joe Biden's press secretary, announced that she had left the Democratic Party and that she was now a registered independent. Now, I said at the time, and I will stand by, that this move was almost entirely driven by a need to get attention for the book. If Karine Jean-Pierre wasn't writing a book, I doubt she would have become an independent, right? She was the spokesperson, the official spokesperson for a Democratic president of the United States. So months after he leaves office, she decides she's not a Democrat anymore. Okay, it was always odd to me. But Jean-Pierre is doing a bunch of interviews around the release of the book. And in those interviews, she is explaining more of why she became an independent but also, I think, trying to rewrite history that we know about Joe Biden and the 2024 campaign. So let's go back to the spring of 2024. In the spring of 2024, Joe Biden had fallen behind Donald Trump nationally and in most of the 7 swing states. Now, Joe Biden wasn't behind by 10 points. He was behind by a few points, both nationally and in swing states. But he was consistently running behind Donald Trump. And by the way, in her interview, Karine Jean-Pierre says that she cited Nancy Pelosi, the leader of Democrats at the time, and George Clooney, the actor and prominent Democrat. She said that though them signaling their doubts about Biden's ability to continue, quote, all of it contributed to a perception of disunity. Well, duh. Again, you had a guy who was losing, who people thought was too old, and whose fundamental message was not working. Then you had the debate in which Joe Biden flopped is a nice word for what happened. The idea that the party should unify behind Joe Biden after that debate is absolutely fanciful. The idea that Jean-Pierre seems to be pushing, which is if only, and by the way, the only people I've heard make this are people whose last names end in Biden. So Jill, Joe, and Hunter Biden, and now Karine Jean-Pierre, that if only the party had united behind Joe Biden after the debate and said it wasn't that bad, he would have won. You're just not dealing in reality. He wasn't going to win before the debate, and he was going to lose and lose badly after the debate. Now, we can go back and forth about whether Kamala Harris was the right choice, but the point is Joe Biden was not going to win this race. This is not about Democratic unity. This is about the practical realities of politics. And when you have a candidate as damaged as Joe Biden, it is not about Democratic disunity. It is not about the media swarm. It's not about anything other than people thought he was too old. He showed he was too old. He needed to go. Now, so Jean-Pierre is trying to write this kind of alternate history in this book. It seems that like people abandoned Joe Biden and that's why she had to leave the Democratic Party. That seems, if you're a Democrat who is mostly interested in a Democrat being president and Donald Trump not being president, you had to have believed that Joe Biden needed to go. Now, this book, when it was announced,
not entitled to her own facts. Here she is on The View. Says she's angry with the way Democrats dumped Biden.
Every morning wanting to tell you right now, to anyone who's watching, President Biden was one of the most decent people that I know. And he literally woke up every morning wanting to make this country better for the American people. And whatever view that you may have of him, treating him the way that he was treated in those 3 weeks was awful. It was deplorable. Hey. And it was something that I just had never seen before. It was so disrespectful to a man who had given more than 50 years of public service.
Was he hurt by that? Was he incredibly hurt by it? Did you see that?
I actually never had a conversation with him directly about it, but I can't imagine that he wasn't. And he's going to speak for himself about that time, that moment, his presidency. He's writing his own book. I'm just speaking from myself. Yeah. And I saw it. I lived it. I breathed it. And it was something that I just could not understand. Why would they do it this way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Publicly.
In a humiliating way.
Yes, and we asked that question also on this show.
We did.
Yeah. We asked that question because it seemed
cruel.
Like why are you doing it? That you couldn't do this behind you had to drag us all in here?
All of us.
It was.
We all saw the debate. We all saw what happened there. Now they're trying to rewrite history. She's going on her viral revenge tour, throwing Kamala under the bus, not Joe. She's still covering for Joe.
In this case,
Jesse Waters.
The binder's back, baby. She's transitioning to independent. She's got blonde highlights now, and blondes have more fun. And you know what they say, when a woman dramatically changes her hair, she's going through something. In this case, it's true. Binder can't find a job. She's the face of the cheap fakes. She swore a DEI blood oath to Joe, kind of like Kamala. And now her best shot at a payday? Bank a book advance about the big guy, but don't say anything bad about the big guy in it because he's the meal ticket. Problem is, nobody's going to believe the blonde binder. All of Biden world already told Comer under oath that Grandpa's lights were out. But Binder's thirsty, and she's transitioning fast. First stop on the tour, CBS. Binder's fuming that Democrats threw Joe under Kamala's electric school bus.
What you said in this book is you're angry at the people who tried to push him out.
Yes, that's correct.
Some Americans are going to say, seriously?
But not just the party that pushed him out, the party as it's behaving today in this moment when we need a Democratic Party to be fighting, to be an opposition party.
Binder's very concerned about Biden's age. No, she wasn't. It was just a silly joke.
I was his White House press secretary, which means I had a role that saw him practically every day and traveled with him.
And you saw nothing.
For more than 95%. We've always said, we're not going to say, oh, he didn't age. He aged. And he poked fun at it. We always owned up. And with age comes what happens when you get older.
Age is what happens when you get older. That sounds like a Kamala fortune cookie. It makes sense. They're both fluent in DEI and both in on the big lie.
When we talk about the mental acuity, and again, I take this very, very seriously. I never saw anyone who wasn't there. I saw someone who was always engaged.
That wasn't all. Binder got hungry for seconds after CBS, so she ran to a liberal podcast saying Trump, not Biden, was playing Houdini with the press.
He talked way less to the press than Donald Trump does. Way less. And he wasn't out there at all. He wasn't good off the cuff. He wasn't doing press conferences. Let's just be real. Like, he didn't do paid events.
Tim, that's not true. Tim, you're conflating all of it. That's what you're doing. No, you're telling me he didn't talk well about it. Then you're telling me he didn't talk at all.
He didn't do either. He didn't talk very often. And when he did, it wasn't very good. He sounded very old.
Maybe you weren't paying attention to what we were doing at the White House.
The binder's back, baby.
The binder's
She's
back.
Transitioning.
Trying to sell a book full of lies. If you got value for this report, tab subscribe. My final thought is next. So the Biden cover-up unraveling in real time. KJP spent years gaslighting America about Biden's mental fitness. Now she's playing victim while her party burns. She opens her book with, "I'm a black gay woman, not I serve the American people with honesty." That tells you everything. She's still lying about Biden, speaking more than Trump. She's throwing Kamala under the bus while protecting the man whose decline she helped hide. Even liberal media can't stomach her revision anymore. She was cornered on CBS. Her nervous laughter said it all. This isn't about one press secretary's ego trip. It's about the systematic deception of 330 million Americans. The Democrats used Biden like a puppet. KJP read the script. And now they're all turning on each other. Here's the question, though. Should lying press secretaries face criminal charges for deceiving the public? Yes or no? Comment below and support Real Truth by grabbing some of our merch. Link below.